Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma is proud to present The Shasteen Show from London's in downtown Tullahoma. Brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Shasteen and Ken Keller.
Well, it is the unofficial end of summer, Labor Day 2018, but summer is not going quietly. Hot, steamy Monday, our first September show. Welcome in to London's in downtown Tullahoma, the Shasteen Show Holiday Edition, along with Ken Keller. I'm Scott Shasteen. We got football, and more football to talk about. High school, college, pros get started in a week, so it's a great time. This time of year is a great time. We love it. Kenneth, big football weekend.
It's the most wonderful time.
It really is. So let's start with a question here. You saw your two quarterbacks play for Alabama on Saturday. What's your impressions of those two young men?
I have no comment. No.
Excellent. That's the way to handle that question, no matter how many times
Maria, you saw it yourself. Why do you ask me such a ridiculous question? Come on, Maria. I'm not going to answer that. I mean, you saw it.
Nick Saban has been just lambasted today by the national media for the way he responded to Maria Taylor's question. Your opinion of Nick's response and the national media's response?
Well, I'm looking at both sides of it as a coach and as a, I guess, sideline reporter, okay? Nick Saban's been asked 82,000 times this year, who's his quarterback going to be? And he's been adamant the whole time. You'll find out. Both of them can help our team. Now, look, in the game Saturday night, Tua led 5 out of 6 drives, 4 touchdowns. 75% completion percentage was unbelievable. Right now, I got him and Will Greer as the front runners for the Heisman after one game. Long season, but after one game, that's who I got. On the other hand, Jalen Hurts could not read defenses, had no clue to throw the ball. The offense did nothing with him. So, you know, he says that he was not going to – he felt like Maria Taylor was baiting him a little bit and getting him to disrespect one of his players. He did go over the top. He apologized for it. That was wrong. But on the flip side of that, I think he was thinking, Maria, you asked me before the game who was going to play quarterback, and I said, I'm not going to tell you. You just have to find out. I just think there's other questions that she could have asked him after that game. There's tons of other questions. I know the coach don't get to pick the questions that are asked. It's not a debate.
It's not a debate. Coach don't get to pick the questions.
Yeah.
The question that had been asked 7,000 times of Nick Saban was who was going to start at quarterback. The only time he had been asked, now that you've seen him play, this was immediately following the game. Now that you've seen them play, what's your evaluation of your two quarterbacks was the most legitimate question that she could have possibly asked.
Well, and that's what you think. But Nick Saban has seen them every day in spring.
That was before the game.
And in summer.
That was before the game.
And he's made his evaluations.
That was before the game.
So evidently he made his evaluations because who did he send out to start?
That was before the game. She was simply asking his opinion after the game.
Yeah. Well, and he was just tired of quarterback questions. He's tired of quarterback questions, plain and simple. She could have asked, Bobby Petrino guaranteed to win. Did that fire your team up? Or, you know, let's talk about your return game. You had a kickoff touchdown. You had a punt call back. Jalen Waddle had 185 yards. What do you think about the freshman? I just feel like there's other questions she could have asked as a responsible reporter. But, look, Nick Saban apologized. It is what it is.
Do you think he was wrong?
Well, he apologized. He did have a sharp tone of voice. He was a bit short and rude, yes.
Do you condone shortness and rudeness by Nick Saban?
He's his own man. I don't answer questions for him. I think he was. Okay. But sometimes these reporters barb him in press conferences because to elicit a response like that from him.
Everybody got a job to do, don't they?
Everybody's got a job to do. And, I mean, she did well professional-wise by walking away from it and not saying, what are you talking about? I just asked you a simple question. She didn't do that. So, she took the high road. I'll admit that. But, look, I'm looking at it, too, from a Bama fan. She graduated from Georgia. Georgia and Alabama strongly dislike each other, and I think maybe that factored in some too. Who knows?
Yeah. So you're big, and look, we're gonna break down some of these games. We're gonna break down the high school weekend. Certainly, Tullahoma's huge win over Marshall County was just tremendous. That's the biggest win for the Wildcat program since. Well, I'll wait and tell you what I think was the previous biggest win for the Wildcat program. But
I'll tell you, though, before you get into that, who did have a very good press conference or an interview after the game Friday night. Our third wheel, Mr. Mark Houston, with Coach John Olive. You're right. It's one of the biggest wins. I saw somebody say on Facebook, on social media Saturday, that it was a fluke. That game was not a fluke. Tullahoma took the punch in the fight to the Marshall County Tigers, Scott. We sat there and watched it. They punched him in the mouth from the first snap.
Nothing fluky about it. It was solid.
It was solid.
So without breaking down any games or getting into deep detail, I'm looking for generalizations here. The biggest winner from this first weekend of college football, and we know it could be Florida State or Virginia Tech. They play tonight, but the biggest winner from the first weekend.
I think the biggest winner is the Auburn Tigers because they beat Washington, the number 6 team in the nation. It wasn't pretty. What was it, 21-15, 21-16, 21-15, somewhere's in there. Lots of field goals. Washington had their chances, and now I'm not going to dispel them out of the national championship playoff race. They had
nobody that lost this weekend is out of the
but they have no margin for error now. Right. They're going to have to run the table. But they had, well, Scott, when you have 3 first-and-goal situations and you come out of it with 3 field goals, you're not going to beat a top 10 team, and that's what happened to Washington.
And I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch a lot of that game. My biggest winner, and it was probably just because I watched the game, was LSU, because LSU dominated Miami. And I was sitting there thinking the whole game that, wow, for 10 years now, we've just been waiting for LSU to have a quarterback that could complete a pass. And they were going to be great anytime they got a quarterback that could complete a pass. They have been since Nick got there. Whenever they've had a quarterback that can complete a pass, they've been outstanding. And they've got one this year. And they started so low. And they've got a brutal schedule. But wow, they were really impressive with a number of Middle Tennessee players.
Well,
on that roster.
They were. And of course, Joe Burrow, the transfer from Ohio State. And I said on this show a couple times, when I saw the SEC media pundits pick LSU for 5th in the West out of 7 teams, I said, no way. This team can beat anybody because of their strength in the trenches and their skilled athletes in the defensive backfield and at wide receiver. And now they got a quarterback that can run and throw a little bit and not turn the ball over and manage the game. I think Ed Orgeron's going to have a big year this year.
We thought both Ole Miss and LSU may have been ranked a little low, and they both looked really good on Saturday.
And what you're going to see, Scott, you're going to see 5 teams come out in the AP polls out of the SEC West ranked in the top 25. I think A&M is going to join that mix, and they got a huge game this week we'll preview later on.
I challenge anybody to research whether this has ever happened before. 13 of the 14 – now there hadn't been 14 teams in the SEC for a long, long time, but 13 of the 14 teams won this weekend, and Tennessee the only loser. But that's never happened.
No. Normally it's Vandy is the only loser. But we're going to talk about Tennessee. They've had a really good first half. Was in striking distance, 13-7. I think they lost some momentum there with a field goal at the end of the first half, and then that long delay in the locker room. You just don't know how when kids get in the locker room and you have a long delay like that of how they're going to react. And I thought it was interesting how the sideline reporter went into both locker rooms at halftime and came out with 2 totally different stories on what the coaches did with their teams. Said Jeremy Pruitt was coaching all his groups, that he was going over strategy, that he took all that time to coach his players. West Virginia, they focused on eating. They just eating because they had, I think, went through a delay last year similar to that, and they just fed the players and watched other games when they were in the locker room. So kind of that was good insight reporting, I thought, right there. Maybe one team come out a little tense in the second half, one team a little looser, and I kind of saw that in the second half as West Virginia took that game over.
So Friday night was the opening of region play in high school football, and you know, Nolensville beating Spring Hill 41-6. Spring Hill had an assistant coach pass away on Saturday, so they've got a lot of struggles down there in Spring Hill. Maplewood beat Lawrence County 66-6. That's almost exactly what we predicted that one would be. But Tullahoma's win over Marshall County, you know, as you know, I have every Tullahoma score dating back to 1969, and so I started going backwards, and it's really hard to judge these sort of things because, you know, is it an upset when a team has a really good year and they beat a team that usually beats them? Well, maybe not in that year. It might not be an upset, right?
Yeah.
But back in the early 2000s, Tullahoma was in a region with Hillsborough, and the boroughs were an absolute juggernaut. You remember this. Hillsborough played for multiple state championships. They won one. They went like 5 years without losing a region game. And then in 2005, week 2, Tullahoma beat Hillsborough 21-20 in the regular season. And I submit that, to my knowledge, that Fridays, because here's the previous year's scores against Hillsborough.
Yeah.
Hillsborough winning them all. 42-0, 21-0, 42-12, 45-14, 35-7. And then Tullahoma comes up and beats them. Now, the Cats went on to have a 9-3 year in 2005. They were really good, beat Beach in the playoffs before losing to Whites Creek. But I think this was the biggest upset since then.
I think that's great. That's a spot on.
Regular season.
Yeah, and you know, it was a signature win for John Olive. He can sign that. John Olive, that was a signature win Friday night, and very impressive. You know, he's been giddy about his defense all year. Says, you know, he came on our show, a month ago and said, you know, I think our defense has a chance to be pretty good, and you know, really as good as they played against Coffee County, I think they played better Friday night.
All right, we're going to break down this Wildcat Marshall County matchup and really talk about what does that mean for the future. How might that springboard the Wildcats to a successful season? Full breakdown, Tennessee, West Virginia, SEC games, it's all coming your way on this Labor Day. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. This is the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Think there's only one way to earn a college degree? It's time to explore your alternatives at Motlow State Community College. With our diverse degree options, a variety of course formats, and convenient locations, students can customize a college experience to fit any lifestyle, budget, or schedule. There are countless ways to get the education you need. Come explore them with us at Motlow State Community College.
I'm working with a home buyer from Louisiana, and he asked me what type of internet access we have in Tullahoma. So I told him all about LightTube, and he said, "You're kidding me. There's fiber optics available in Tullahoma?" And I said, "Not only that, but it's great service, most reliable. You get to work with people in Tullahoma, and it's awesome. And he said, people need to know in Tullahoma how lucky they are.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
Your first place team in Region 4-4A is the Tullahoma Wildcats, along with the Nolensville Knights and the Maplewood Panthers. And I can already see now that college football and then pro football start. Last week's scoreboard, this is Monday night, It was Friday. If you want to know the scoreboard, go look it up. They're all posted there. Tullahoma took that opening kickoff against Marshall County, Ken. Drove for 55 yards, 6 plays, 3 minutes and some change. Had a beautiful 16-yard pass there from Ben Fulton to Race Marin. And then the Wildcats scored on a beautiful sort of backdoor 33-yard pass from Fulton to Bryson Korn. We hadn't seen that pass to the running back. I don't know if I've ever seen that play from Tullahoma before.
Kind of a little wheel route out of the backfield, but the move, you just got to watch it. Might come on tonight at 7 o'clock.
Sure.
On LightTube 23. So it's been edited, so it's ready to go. But you watch the move of Bryson Korn sticking his foot in the ground and juking the cornerback for Marshall County. It was poetry in motion, man.
And, like the Coffee County game the previous week, Tullahoma got the lead. And, I talked about it last week, getting the lead and then being strong with the lead. Mm-hmm. And the Cats were strong with that lead. I mean, even though they fell behind in the third quarter, I felt the whole time like Tullahoma was going to win that game.
Yeah, we were shocked, that it was 6-0 shutout at halftime. Keeping that momentum up from Coffee County, 78 yards, 5 first downs the week before, several of them on penalties. But the defense is swarming to the football right now. Those Cardinal helmets really in attack mode. We had several standout players defensively, but Tullahoma won first down. They won first down offensively, and they won first down defensively early in that game, especially the first half. They were getting 4-6 yards on first down offensively. Conversely, defensively, they was putting Marshall County behind the sticks, and we commented on that several times in the game.
Let me make your point. First drive, Marshall County, 2nd and 8. Now they did get a first down, 2nd and 10. They punted. Next possession, Marshall County, 2nd and 5, but they punted. Next possession, Marshall County, 2nd and 9. That drive ended with a 14-yard sack by Matt Ross. So
there you go.
Excellent point. Yep. Behind the chains on second down will cost you. Their first drive of the third quarter, they got the football, drove all the way down the field and fumbled the football. 2nd and 12. 2nd and 12. I mean, Tullahoma winning first down the whole game. That's a great observation. Our player of the game, our Giles Dunn Diamond Company player of the game was Ben Fulton. Samari Lane had a tremendous game on defense. Ty Cox was everywhere. Matt Ross had a fine game. Caleb Stroop with what could be one of the plays of the year. Yes. I mean, Marshall County was driving, looking confident. And Caleb Stroop jumped high in the air. Some great pictures by Zach Birdsong and Bash of that interception by Caleb Stroop. Bryson Korn had another fine game running the ball unofficially by my count, 18 carries, 92 yards. But Ben Fulton didn't have huge numbers, 9 out of 14 for 92 yards. But it was the 7 carries for 55 yards that I thought Ben Fulton won the player of the game. And reading Coach Olive's comments in the paper, some of those runs unplanned. He's just back there looking for a throw, sees an open lane, takes it. The maturation of Ben Fulton was a key to Tullahoma's win.
Yeah, difference between night and day from the first two, especially the Chevyville game. Played better, but only 4 passes against Coffee County.
Didn't have to do a lot.
Yeah, didn't have to do a lot that game, but, just managing the game. You saw Joe Burrow do it for LSU last night against Miami and how effective your team can be when you're playing good defense. You got a run game. Quarterback just managed the game and take care of the football, but he had numerous scrambles early in that game where he showed poise that you referenced, Scott, of just flashing out of the pocket, evading a rush, and making positive yardage. Sometimes not a whole lot, just getting back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a couple yards over, but averting big losses. And that was a big key for Tullahoma's offense in that game.
Yeah, Ben had runs of 16, 12, and 15 yards.
Yeah.
They came at very opportune times when Tullahoma needed it, especially that 16-yard run late. On the reverse side, Marshall County had just been a running, time-eating machine in their first 2 games. Now, they lost to Cane Ridge in overtime. They beat Shelbyville by 3 points, so they've been playing close games. But Marshall County has 40 rushes for 161 yards. That's 4 yards a carry. That's pretty good.
That's real good. And it seemed like in the game, you'll see when you watch the replay, there were tons of toss sweeps left and right, either side. Both teams had success with that play. And, we get to the end of that game. We'll get to the fourth quarter here in a minute, but it was just a battle of wills and who was going to make one more play. And unfortunately, the Cardinal and Black made one more play.
Absolutely. And I hope that everything came out great on the video and everything. Should be a fun replay to watch.
Yeah, that last drive.
I hope I actually have sound now on Channel 23.
Yeah, I hope you do
after
too, man.
a week. I did this afternoon, so my hopes are high.
Yeah.
For that. No disrespect to like to, but it is true.
Yeah.
So how does this big win over Marshall County, and now you've got 3 teams at the top of the region, 1-0 in the region, 2-1 overall.
Yeah.
Tullahoma now has to get right back up for, in some people's minds, the biggest rivalry game because part of the city is in Franklin County. So many connections between Franklin County and Tullahoma. My ancestors all came to Franklin County from Virginia. There's Shasteen everything over in Franklin County.
There you go.
So to me, Winchester and Tullahoma are more intertwined than Manchester and Tullahoma. It's not as big a rivalry to some people, but to others it is. And some of the games that we've had in recent years have just been tremendous. Overtime games, triple overtime games, the Full Moon Miracle over there in Winchester. When I think the first game in that new stadium that they've got. How can this carry over for Tullahoma positively, and then what might be the drawbacks from the win?
I think Coach Olive was asked after the game, what can you carry forth from this big win against Marshall County next week to Franklin County?
That would have been a question from one Mark Houston,
it would. And it was a good question. And Coach Olive said, I hope we can play physical again. I hope we can match the physicality we match Franklin County's physicality. And I think that's going to be a big thing because if Tullahoma can do that, I think they can have success again. And, so look at that defense. Tullahoma, the Coach Olive has the wherewithal to go for a fourth and short yards, like 3 yards or 5 yards, and then Corn's 1 yard short. They got to go 85 yards, and then Caleb Stroop picks off that interception to number. And if you reference it, you see the action shots that Zach Birdsong got. He was behind the defense, and what an unbelievable acrobatic interception that he looked like Ronnie Lott on that play, going up and high pointing that football. Man, we was slapping high fives up there and everything. So you're right. It's a dangerous game for Tullahoma. You get an emotional win like that on the road against a team like Marshall County, their first region loss since 2014. Can you match that intensity and that physicality this week? If you don't, you're going into a hornet's nest over there. Watch out.
And it's a odd situation as well because, look, this is not a region game. It has no playoff implications. It's the next one that is much more important in the big picture. It's the one that we all admitted when Coach Olive was here a few weeks ago that Tullahoma's just always flat for. It's that you got Shelbyville, Coffee County, Marshall County, Franklin County, Spring Hill.
Yeah.
It's that game that Tullahoma's always flat for, yet the Wildcats could virtually clinch a playoff berth with a win over Spring Hill. Right. So
that's a great point.
It's a tough spot.
And sometimes, the coaches know that. They've communicated that to the players. But for the fans, They're not looking at that.
No,
They're saying, "Oh, this is the big game for us, Franklin County, Tullahoma."
Because we know Coach Pruitt communicated to his players for an hour and a half at halftime Saturday how important it was to come out in the second half and be ready to go. Yeah. And we saw what happened there. Other big games coming up this weekend. It is a non-region weekend, and it's about the last weekend where almost everybody plays non-region games. Remember, some regions have 5, some 6, some 7 teams in them. So Lawrence County goes to Columbia. Last week, you correctly picked Lincoln County to beat Columbia. They beat them 23-22. Coach Tim Johnson, you're seeing a little bit of turnaround there at Lincoln County. That's a big win for the Falcons. And the Lions should recover against Lawrence County. Nolensville at Summit, that's 2 really good teams. Summit's going to have their hands full with Nolensville.
Nolensville's putting up a lot of points right now. They have a high-powered offense, so I'm anxious to see them here in a few weeks.
Maplewood at Whites Creek, those games are always tough. Spring Hill, they're going to host Riverdale. Riverdale's had a terrible start. They are going to be looking to get on the right track against Spring Hill. And, boy, the Raiders, you got to feel for them. I think maybe the most interesting game of the weekend, other than, of course, ours, could be Giles County at Lincoln County. With Lincoln County playing better, Giles County's always good. That'll be a good test for the Falcons in the pit.
Yeah, 2 future opponents of the Wildcats. So that'll be exciting to watch.
We need somebody to go to Fayetteville and
scout them out.
Scout that thing out. Yep. Shelbyville goes to Warren County. The Golden Eagles will have no problem. Let's see, scanning through here, Cannon County at Moore County. Our crew will be down in Lynchburg on Whiskey Country 105.1 for that ball game. That's a pretty good test. Cannon County's actually had a good start, and Moore County just got mauled by Cornersville last week, 39-0.
Yeah, whitewash, 39-0. So Cornersville's got a pretty good team.
If you could only go to one game in the state of Tennessee this year, and it seems like this team is involved in the best game in the state every week, it would have been Oakland at Maryville a couple weeks ago, and that was a great game. But if you didn't make it to that one and you can only go to one, how about Alcoa at Maryville? Now, Maryville usually wins this game, but together these two teams have won about 35 state championships.
Oh, wow.
And they're about 10 miles apart. It's like Tullahoma and Franklin County combining to win 35 state championships. Kim, what Gary Rankin, George Quarles, and other coaches, I mean, John Olive used to be coach at Maryville. What those programs have done over the years, it's not a new fad. It's over a long time. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, to sustain success that long, you just got to have the infrastructure in place and a system. And
system.
Yeah, system. And
from the time like these kids are born, evidently.
Yeah, you got to grab them when they're young, and you got to have a really strong strength. You've seen how important strength and conditioning is at all levels now.
And neither of these teams sends a huge amount of players to college. Every once in a while they'll have somebody play it at a big D1 school, but for the most part they don't. It's amazing. That should be a interesting game. I think Maryville wins it. Joe Gaddis and Oak Ridge host Farragut. Coffee County, Cascade, and Marshall County are open this coming weekend. We're going to put a lid on high school football. It's college football time. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. Come back for the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month, what are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
Centrally located to the colleges, high schools, and middle schools it serves across southern Middle Tennessee, Sports Plus is also Tullahoma's only locally owned sports store with brands like Under Armour, Wilson, Rawlings, Majestic Athletics, and New Era baseball caps. Owner Joe Barstad has something for all fans and athletes alike. From pro and college apparel to your favorite hometown team, Sports Plus also works with the latest uniform trends and technology. Learn more at sportsplustullahoma.com.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We're the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
By the way, the highest scoring game Friday night in high school football, Centennial beat Independence 62-40. So for the second straight week, we have a game over 100 points. And the biggest upset I saw was Tullahoma beating Marshall County, Ken. And Marshall County's been to the semifinals of the state playoffs 5 years in a row. And they're a perennial powerhouse in 4A football.
It had to be the biggest upset in the state. Lincoln County beating Columbia it pales in comparison. That's a great win for Tim Johnson, Lincoln County. They're playing well this year, but this one was huge for Tullahoma. And really, of who they beat, it's almost like 2 wins because it's a region win against one of the giants. Marshall County, I think most prognosticators, including both of us, picked Maplewood to win Region 4A, especially after Marshall County lost Bryce Wallace. But that does not diminish this win whatsoever because they had 5 guys, 300-plus pounds, and Tullahoma took them to the woodshed, basically on their home field.
What a disappointing home field it is for a program like Marshall County. Now we don't want to. I talked to multiple people in the press box about this thing. They're fighting a battle down there to get a new football stadium. They desperately need it for a program with that kind of success. It's in poor condition.
I agree. I'm not going to use adjectives to describe it because I might get in trouble on this show.
Poor condition.
How about
Let's
just leave it at that.
And warm. It's very warm. So the Tennessee Volunteers, a lot of preseason hype. Of course, we're here, so we're going to get that preseason hype. I'm sure somebody in Oklahoma wouldn't say there was a lot of preseason hype about Tennessee, but we know what we've been through here for 10 years. It's been a book written about it, The Decade of Dysfunction. It's a great way to put it. So Jeremy Pruitt comes in after the totally botched coaching search. We lose athletic director. We lose they cleaned house up there. Everybody's excited because Coach Fulmer's back. It was his birthday Saturday. The battle captain, they call him. Winchester's own Phil Fulmer. Everybody excited. West Virginia must be overrated. Tennessee's going to play better than we think they are. Remember, they got a bunch of 4-star players up there. They just needed somebody to coach them up. Well, guess what? We got a long way to go. The first 5 plays were for negative yardage. Tennessee came out totally not ready to play. The 5th-year graduate Alabama transfer center didn't look like he thought he was playing high school football or something. He didn't have a clue what he was supposed to do. You got to put that on the coaches. It could not have been a worse start for Tennessee, both in the game. On the season, it could have been a worse start because you could have lost 2 or 3 starters to injury, and I don't think we did, although West Virginia lost their outstanding linebacker Bentley early to a season-ending injury, and that's terrible. But, it's really disappointing. You saw a couple of good things. You saw Tim Jordan's a really good hard runner. Reminds you a lot of John Kelly, but he's a little bit bigger. I think he's got a chance to have a really good year. They lost Ty Chandler early. Who knows? With the concussions, that usually means a couple of weeks. And Garantano, I thought, looked really good. When he had time, he stood in the pocket. He threw the football well. Thought Tennessee's receivers caught the balls that were thrown to them. But defensively, there's not a lot to hang your hat on there for the Volunteers. That young secondary looked like some freshmen back there. They really missed Todd Kelly. I hope he comes back soon. Nigel Warrior's overrated. But, I say this a lot. A season's not won or lost on one game. West Virginia looked really good. They've got some outstanding players. Wait till the NFL draft comes next year or two, right? Going to be, but all these receivers and his quarterback name going to be called. They're good. Tennessee's not very good. It's one game. Tennessee will get better. West Virginia's not winning the national title. We weren't supposed to win. We didn't.
Yeah.
Put it behind us. ETSU, Tennessee should win that game by 40 points still.
I think the first 3 games for Jeremy Pruitt are all geared to get ready for the Florida Gators at the end of this month, okay? I picked West Virginia to win. I picked Tennessee 7-5 on the season. This will be one of their losses. Will Greer's who we thought he was. The guy looked like Brett Favre, especially in the second half. He had some pinpoint passes. He's got 3 great receivers. Kenny Bigelow, talking about bright spots for Tennessee. Now, Kenny Bigelow, the defensive tackle for West Virginia, that's another NFL name you're going to hear pop up good. He dominated and totally abused Brandon Kennedy at center, so that was not a bright spot for Tennessee. But you referenced the running back, Jordan. He had a really good game, ran hard. Madre London, I was not so impressed with him, but he'll come around. Might have been some of the blocking got blowed up on the offensive line. Guarantano showed good leadership. I thought he managed the game well. But I think what Tennessee fans really were fired up about was at the end of the first half when Tennessee got their touchdown on 4th down. They did not try to run the ball and run into insanity. They rolled out and hit their new tight end in the corner of the end zone. And I think Tennessee fans like that play. That Butch showed some kahunas. Not Butch. Slap me if I say Butch Jones. Jeremy Pruitt showed some kahunas that Butch Jones would have not showed in that situation. That was a great play call and hit Dominique Wood-Anderson in the back of the end zone for that first touchdown.
So let's talk about that part of the game because that was certainly the highlight for Volunteer fans. Tennessee 17 plays, almost 9 minutes off the clock, drives all the way down the field, goes forward on 4th and 1, 1st and goal at the 1, 2nd and goal, they got pushed back to the 3 or whatever, went forward on 4th and goal, scored that touchdown. That's the highlight. That's what you got to take, I think, from this game and say, and Jeremy Pruitt said it after the game, that's who we want to be right there.
And that's who you needed to beat a team like West Virginia. Play keep away. They did it on that one drive. And after that one drive, I said, you know what? They cut it to 10-7. I said, they got a chance to win this game.
So West Virginia is certainly a quality football team. I mean, they had transfers, Ken. My God, every time they'd say a transfer, it was Southern Cal, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State.
Yeah,
they got some tremendous transfers.
I agree, and I'll say this about West Virginia. Their defense is better than I thought it would be. I thought Tennessee would score 24 points in this game. They scored 14. Their defense is better. I think they're the only team in the Big 12 that can hang with Oklahoma, and if Will Greer's on and they protect him, they can play with Oklahoma.
So let's just put the hammer down on Coach Pruitt here, because at halftime, one coach and I'm with you. It was great insight on what the two teams did at halftime. But, Jeremy Pruitt's got a lot to learn. To me, it proved more than anything in the game. What happened at halftime showed you just how raw he is and inexperienced he is. Those guys were obviously mentally drained.
I think so.
When the second half started, they had been overcoached.
Yeah, and the sideline reporter went down into both locker rooms. Dana Holgerson, West Virginia, they feed their players. They was watching other games. They referenced it, and conversely, she said, whoever the commentator was or the on the field reporter said Tennessee's locker room totally different. Jeremy Pruitt every minute was coaching the players and all the individual coaches. They broke out. They were, and sometimes you can get too hyped up to come out in the second half. I think they were more mentally worn out, just like you said. They were maybe tight, and then West Virginia came out loose in that second half. They poured on 27 points, outscored them 27-7, and it looked like two totally different teams for Tennessee the first half versus the second half. But I think a lot of the experience of West Virginia and those wide receivers and that quarterback, we heard how good they was. They showed it in the second half. And, of course, you had Trayvon Flowers and Alante Taylor, two safety and a cornerback. Alante played well, 4 tackles, blocked a punt in that game, got a piece of it. I think there was lots of bright spots for Tennessee. I like Jameer Johnson, the offensive lineman. He was smashing people, with a hat. He was literally mauling people on the offensive line. He did good too.
Well, and that's what you look for when you get your butt kicked.
Yeah, fighters.
Is some little positives, and hoping that these next 2 games, everybody gets a little confidence. It's going to take a while to learn how to win.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to take a while for Jeremy Pruitt to get his players in there. You saw just how I think sort of depleted Tennessee was.
Yeah, and they got good news Saturday morning. J.J. Peterson has qualified, been cleared by the clearinghouse at outside linebacker. They need his speed and athleticism on that field. And for the love of God, we do not want East Tennessee State to win that game because Mr. Randy Sanders has promised something if he wins, what he's going to do.
I think he promised he was going to walk from Knoxville back to Johnson City carrying the goalpost stark naked.
Yeah.
Did Randy Sanders
that's
promise.
the side I don't think anybody wants to see, Scott.
Well, I'm usually in the minority, Ken, so frankly I'd sort of like to see that. I think that would make for interesting.
But I'm going to tell you what, if that happened, Jeremy Pruitt might be walking back down the interstate to University of Alabama if he gets beat by East Tennessee State. It's not happening.
Nick Saban's first year at Alabama, they got beat by who? Louisiana Monroe or somebody like that.
The Skyhawks. Come on, man. That ain't going to happen. Yeah.
Stuff happens. It's college football. That's why we love it. You're going to have to listen faster when we come back because we've got a lot to say about college football. And, the pros get started this week. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. It's the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
I'm working with a home buyer from Louisiana, and he asked me what type of internet access we have in Tullahoma. So I told him all about LightTube, and he said, "You're kidding me. There's fiber optics available in Tullahoma?" And I said, "Not only that, but it's great service, most reliable. You get to work with people in Tullahoma, and it's awesome." And he said, "People need to know in Tullahoma how lucky they are."
Think there's only one way to earn a college degree? It's time to explore your alternatives at Motlow State Community College. With our diverse degree options, a variety of course formats, and convenient locations, students can customize a college experience to fit any lifestyle, budget, or schedule. There are countless ways to get the education you need. Come explore them with us at Motlow State Community College.
Centrally located to the colleges, high schools, and middle schools it serves across southern Middle Tennessee, Sports Plus is also Tullahoma's only locally owned sports store with brands like Under Armour, Wilson, Rawlings, Majestic Athletics, and New Era baseball caps. Owner Joe Barstad has something for all fans and athletes alike, from pro and college apparel to your favorite hometown team. Sports Plus also works with the latest uniform trends and technology. Learn more at sportsplustullahoma.com.
You're watching The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma on LightTube Channel 23 and 93.9 The Duck. Now back to Scott and Ken at London's in downtown Tullahoma.
6:46 on this Monday, our first show of September. All right, let's do this real quick. We're going to do it for Smash. All right, we're going to go down this Titans schedule, and you're going to write it down.
All right.
Put your K and an S.
That sounds good.
And a D. We'll use Daniel's D, even though he smashed to us.
That's
all right.
it.
Now we're going to have to do this quick, so I'm going to talk us through it. Opening game at Miami. Ken, Titans win or lose?
They're going to win by field goal.
All right. I say the Titans lose at Miami. Smash, that's a W for the Titans. Week 2, the Houston Texans come to town. September 16th. Win or lose for the Titans, Ken?
I'm going to put a loss.
I say the Titans lose to the Texans. Smash, that's a loss for the Titans. Week 3. They go to Jacksonville. The Titans beat Jacksonville twice last year. I think Jacksonville's better this year. Jacksonville's at home. I'm saying that's a loss for the Titans. You?
At Jacksonville, we smashed them there last year. I'm going to take the Titans in an upset.
Smash says that's a win for the Titans. Week 4, the world champion Philadelphia Eagles come to town. They'll probably have their starting quarterback back by then. I'm going to have to go with the world champions against the Titans. I say that's a loss for the Titans. You?
I'm going to say that's a loss for the Titans.
Smash? Oh, win. Titans easily pound the Eagles.
Over the world champions.
Week 5, the Titans go to Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to be one of the most improved teams in the NFL this year. I'm going to say at Buffalo, it's not quite cold yet, so I'm going to say the Titans go to Buffalo and eke out a win there. It's an ugly win. It's like 15-12 or something. Titans win it.
I'm going to count that as a close win. Buffalo's got a good defense.
Smash, win for the Titans. Next week, the Baltimore Ravens come to town. Just don't like it. I don't think the Ravens are a great team. I just think they beat the Titans. Loss for the Titans on October 14th. You?
I'm going to count that one a win.
Smash against the Ravens. He'll
Loss.
call it a loss. October 21st, Titans, before the bye week, go to face the Chargers. Chargers are getting a lot of love in L.A. 9:30 a.m. Is that game in London? It must be in London. I'll take the Titans there. I think the Chargers are overrated. You?
I've got to win. I've got a loss. Phillip Rivers will beat them.
Beat them in
They
London.
got Antonio Gates back.
Smash says that's a W for the Titans. So after the bye week, the Titans will go to Dallas, play Dallas. That's a Monday night game on November 5th. I like the Cowboys on Monday night to beat the Titans.
Go Cowboys, the Pokes.
You, Smash, says that's a win for the Titans. No chance for the Cowboys there. November 11th, the New England Patriots come to town. What a huge crowd that's going to be. It'll be a packed house, although the Titans will only have a couple of wins on the year, so it may be full of Patriots fans. Titans aren't going to beat Tom Brady. He's the golden child. I say loss for the Titans.
Loss.
Win for the Titans.
He got to beat both
Titans.
Super Bowl teams last year.
November 18th, Titans go to Indianapolis. Andrew Luck will be in a flow right there. The Colts will be back to their jinx over the Titans. I say that's a loss for the Titans at Indianapolis.
I got a win for the Titans there.
Next week, they go to Houston. Titans are down. Everybody's down on them. The head coach is feeling the heat. Starting quarterback's been out for 2 weeks. Titans will lose at Houston. That's a loss.
I'm going to count that one as an upset since Houston beat us earlier.
Win for the Titans, Smash says.
Oh.
Next week, New York Jets come to town. The Titans just can't get enough of these New York teams. That is a win for the Titans against my Jets.
Win.
Smash says that's a win. Jacksonville comes to town Thursday, December 6th. That's a Thursday night game. It'll be a mix of two really ugly uniforms if they're still doing that. I think the Jags own the Titans this year. Lost Titans.
I agree. I got a loss there at home.
Smash, W. Big win for the Titans. Next week, the Titans go to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants. It's going to be freezing cold Sunday, December 16th. Titans season is over. Giants battling for a playoff spot. I say loss, Titans.
I'm going to take Saquon Barkley and the New York Giants.
Loss. December 23rd, the Redskins come to town. The Redskins are going to be battling for a playoff spot. Titan season is over. I say loss Titans.
I've got that one as a win.
Smash says win. Season finale for the Titans, December 30th. Colts come to town. Colts are out of it. Titans are out of it. It's going to be the irrelevant bowl. I say the Titans get the win over the Colts.
You got a win. I've got a win.
Win for Smash. So I'm at 4-12 for the Titans. Ooh. I think the Titans, first-year head coach, first-year staff. I don't see explosive playmakers. I don't see the running game being great. I don't see the offensive line being what it has been. I see it being a lot more of what it was last year than the year before. I say 4-12. You say 9-7. Smash says 13-3.
I want some of that powder blue Kool-Aid you're drinking, man. 13-3. All
right, that was for Smash. There,
yeah.
13-3. Ken is going to keep his paper. Yeah. We'll see where we're at when 2019 rolls around. Some more takes from college football. We know what Tennessee did.
Yeah.
Talk about what you liked, what you saw that you liked from the Crimson Tide. Obviously, to me, everything they did was good.
I liked their return game with Jalen Waddle.
Waddle
Jacobs
was outstanding.
Yeah, he runs a 4.28 40, so this guy is legit for a freshman. Scored 35 touchdowns last year out of the state of Texas. Did not like the penalties, did not like the 11 penalties at all in that game. And, of course, Tua was as good as advertised. I really like what he did at quarterback. He's just – I don't know who I try to compare the guy to, man. He's got Steve Young type athleticism, but he's a leader like Tebow is. So I think the only danger there for Alabama is him staying healthy, because I think he can get hurt the way he scrambles and takes on and not getting out of bounds and takes on hitters and defensive backs and linebackers. So kind of concerned there. But I've got kind of my –
And this week Alabama's got –
Arkansas State.
You can hear that game on 105.1 Whiskey Country on Saturday. Tennessee will be playing East Tennessee State University. That's a 3 o'clock Central Time kickoff. You can hear that game on 101.5 The Rooster. And Smash is going to get us the game that you can hear on 93.9 The Duck. Middle Tennessee, of course, lost to Vanderbilt on Saturday.
I do have a list of imposters I put on
there's
here,
imposters
though. There's some imposters out there.
After one game, you're ready to proclaim imposters for the
I've
season.
got some imposters here. Texas Longhorns, man, they lose against Maryland the second year in a row. I just don't know where their coach is going, man.
Well, we know where he likes to go. He likes to go to the strip club with Chad Smith.
That's right. So maybe a distraction there. The Michigan Wolverines, I mean, Jim Harbaugh has lost 9 out of his last 18 games.
9-9.
Come on, man. I mean, you got to be better than that. You got Shea Patterson at quarterback. I was disappointed in the way they played. I thought they had a chance to upset Notre Dame. Conversely, I was impressed with Notre Dame. They're in the playoff hunt. The Miami Hurricanes, very disappointed. Mark Richt, he had that look in the eye on the sidelines early. It's like, we saw this at Georgia. You know,
he had that look like he had when Georgia would play Florida over the last few years.
The deer in headlights type look. I commentated, back and forth on texting my friends. I said he's got that deer in headlights look. Penn State get taken to overtime by Appalachian State. How about that one?
Well, App State has Dale Jones as its defensive coordinator, and whenever Dale Jones is out on the field, you're going to have a chance. Yeah. Appalachian State is no longer an FCS school. They've moved up. They're Division I FBS. So look for them to keep improving. I
agree.
And look, we James Franklin, whatever he ever gets, he deserves.
Yeah, you're right there. And then UCLA Bruins, Chip Kelly gets beat by Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bearcats, at home in the Rose Bowl. So, to me, those are some teams that was disappointing over the weekend. I was impressed with Oklahoma, Ohio State, the SEC West, Notre Dame, West Virginia, and Washington in their loss. Those are some teams that impressed me that are I don't think Alabama's going to get out of the SEC West and those other 6 teams undefeated. Somebody's going to trip them up. There's too many good teams in the West.
So, we've learned over the years that you can lose on this first weekend, especially one of these intersectional, neutral site games. You can lose that and still win the national championship. So out of the losers, out of your imposters, you mentioned Washington. I think everybody would agree that Washington, of all the losers Saturday, has the best chance to rebound from that, even though, man, they're really going to have to destroy some of those Pac-12 teams to have a chance to rebound. But who's got the schedule that really gives them a great chance to rebound?
I think Penn State. I would say Michigan, but I just Harbaugh. I think James Franklin's a better coach right now than Harbaugh is. And Penn State has Ohio State. They catch them at home, and they've got a good quarterback. So Shea Patterson, he was a little squirrely on Saturday for me. So I think Penn State's going to get back in it in the Big Ten. They can win the Big Ten. But we have some big games on slate for week 2 here, and two of the biggest ones I've got highlighted. To me, I can't wait to see this game. This will be must-see TV. The Texas A&M Aggies hosting the Clemson Tigers. Scott, what your thoughts of maybe Jimbo knows the personnel for Clemson well, coaching at Florida State. Now he comes over to A&M. They have him at home at Kyle Field. I see a possible upset brewing there in College Station.
Not so fast, my friend. I don't see a possible upset brewing. I see what could be a good game for a little while.
Yeah.
But Jimbo can know everything he wants to know about what Clemson's going to do, and that doesn't mean he beats them. I mean, I think Coach Saban and his staff know everything that Clemson's going to do, yet when they play them, it goes right down to the wire, right?
It does.
Because there's 2 schools right now in college football that have the best players, the best roster, the best coaching staffs, and that's Alabama and Clemson.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't see an upset brewing there. I think it could be a good game for a while. I think Clemson wins it, by a couple of touchdowns.
All right. What about Georgia travels to South Carolina? Huge SEC game early. East superiority will be established early. Do you give the Gamecocks any kind of chance against the Georgia Bulldogs?
I actually do. To me, the most impressive thing I saw over the week, well, one of the most impressive things I saw over the weekend was some of the receivers for some of these teams. My gosh, Ole Miss, West Virginia, South Carolina. What's his name? Back after missing last year. What's his name?
Debo Samuel.
Yeah. I mean, and the guy on the other side. Those guys are really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't think South Carolina beats Georgia, but I think that can be a really, really good game. The Gamecocks are going to be a tough out for everybody this year.
I agree. I like the Georgia Bulldogs as well in that game, maybe by a couple touchdowns. I think they're going to show how good they are. What about this possible upset? The Kentucky Wildcats have been very close to the Florida Gators the last several years and choked at the very end in the fourth quarter.
I mean, this was
how many years has it been? 30 years?
This was the game where Kentucky just didn't cover wide receiver like on 2 straight. They had the game won.
That's it.
Unbelievable.
So Kentucky goes to Florida.
No,
is this the year that it's done?
No, they couldn't do it last year. They're never going to.
I agree.
Was it 31 years?
Yeah, I think 31 years. I take the Florida Gators as well in that game. So we both got Alabama and Tennessee winning. See if there's any other games on here that could throw up. Oh, I've got this one. It's an upset special. The Arkansas Razorbacks travel to Colorado State. I'm going to take Arkansas to lose in that game. I think the Rams are going to beat Arkansas.
Is that an upset?
I think it is. Arkansas had 55 points last week. They're going to be favored in this game, probably by 10 points, but I think Colorado State's going to beat them.
As much as I've heard negatively about that Arkansas roster and what the new coach is trying to do, I'm going to sit with you on that one. I'm going to lay some with you on the Rams.
There you go.
From Colorado State.
The Rams.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for us. It's been a great program. Football is here. Be sure and tune in Friday night, 7 o'clock. We'll be in Winchester, Tullahoma, and Franklin County on the Rooster 101.5. For Smash and Ken, I'm Scott. Be good to each other.
The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision, is a presentation of Bowman Media Company and 93.9 The Duck. The show is taped before a live audience at London's in downtown Tullahoma, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Come join us for cold beer and Tullahoma's best burgers. Thanks for watching The Shasteen Show on LightTube Channel 23.